Hi, I'm Reed Abbott, the Southeast Regional Agronomist for Agro-Culture Liquid Fertilizers, and today I'm going to talk to you about the secrets to successful foliar fertilizer applications. Real quick, I'd like to go over some advantages that I see to foliar applications. First, it gives us the ability to react quickly to deficiency symptoms or low tissue analysis in our crops. We can also bypass soil issues or insufficient root growth, things that would cause soil applied fertilizer to not be used as readily. Foliar applications are mostly relatively low cost. We can do these for fairly cheap, and it gives us the ability to target mid-season growth stages with specific nutrients, as you'll see here in a minute why that's important. So here's a list of factors that affect the success of foliar applications, and I'm going to go through these right here quick, and then we'll go through each one of them individually as we move through the slideshow. Those factors are temperature, humidity, angle of sunlight, plant and leaf types, growth stage, phytotoxicity, and then spray particle size and distribution. So temperature is probably one of the more important factors that influences a foliar application. And the reason for that is mainly due to the behavior of the stomatal openings. Those stomatal openings are responsible for the uptake of foliar nutrition and regulation of transpiration within the plant. So they're kind of they exchange air and moisture across the leaf surface, and they also have the capability of taking in foliar nutrition. The reason that it's important to know how those stomatal openings behave in temperature is that if we have excessive heat or cold, those stomatal openings will actually close down so that it regulates the plant's metabolism, and that can restrict the nutrient and water movement across that cell membrane going into the leaf. So again, we need to be sure that we're in that optimal temperature range for a given crop when we put out these foliar applications. For example, corn and soybeans would be 70 to 85 degrees. I realize that that's not achievable a lot of times, but trying to maintain as close to that degree range as we can when we're putting out our foliar products is going to lead to the biggest amount of success for us in these applications. Humidity is also a very big concern whenever we're putting out foliar nutrients. High humidity delays the drying of the spray droplet, which gives the plant a longer time to absorb the nutrients. And then also those stomata openings remain open for a lot longer periods of time during high humidity conditions. So conversely, in dry, lower humidity regions, those plants actually develop a pretty thick, waxy cuticle, and their stomata don't open quite as long, and so it restricts the movement of those nutrients into the plant leaves. The angle of the sun is actually very important when considering the success of a foliar application. Photosynthesis and respiration within a plant peak when the sun is about 15 degrees above the horizon through the middle of the day. And so that's when we really want to try to target our foliar applications, is during that peak respiration and photosynthesis period, so that that plant will take in those nutrients and absorb them quickly and begin to use them, versus if we were to put it on closer to dusk, that material might actually sit there all night long before it's absorbed for the following morning. So again, we want to just give it the best chance of absorbing those nutrients as quick as possible, and that's going to be when the sun's more overhead during the day. So another consideration for a successful foliar application is looking into your plant and leaf types and structures. Hairy and waxy leaf surfaces tend to be the least receptive to foliar nutrients, as can be expected. Smooth leaf types that don't have a whole lot of hairs allow that product to contact the surface of the leaf and be absorbed through the tissue. Also, plants that have a high density of large stomates tend to be the most receptive to foliar nutrition because they have the most pores. They can take in the most nutrients through the leaf surface. Also, plants with multiple reproductive sites, such as soybeans that have pods all up and down the stem, tend to have an advantage over plants that have maybe just one reproductive site, like corn, because they don't have to translocate nutrients all up and down the stem to get it to the reproductive sites. Where the product lands in that application, it doesn't have to go very far to get where it ends up. So again, those multiple reproductive site plants seem to have the advantage over those single reproductive sites. So also we want to take a look at the growth stage when we're determining how to make a successful foliar application. There's periods of time when plants are most receptive to particular nutrients, so we want to make sure that we're feeding that plant at that particular time. And also we want to consider a plant's condition before the application. Drought stress, cool temperatures, different things like that can adversely affect the efficacy of a foliar application. So we want to make sure that we have healthy plants and plants that are going into a particular stage of growth where they're going to need and be receptive to a particular nutrient that we're trying to foliar feed. So another very important aspect of foliar applications is to determine the phytotoxicity of the products that we're applying onto that crop. High rates of certain products can cause necrotic lesions on the leaves. I'm sure we've all seen the fertilizer burn. That damage can counteract the benefits of the fertility application and hinder its movement into and out of the plant. So we want to make sure and double check those rates and the product's plant injury potential before applying. I kind of liken this scenario to adding a product like crop oil concentrate to a Roundup application, where the product actually burns the leaf before the herbicide can get into the plant and take effect. So again, we want to make sure that we're not doing too much damage to the surface of that leaf and allowing all the nutrition that we're applying to make its way into the plant so it can do some good. So the final consideration we need to take into account when we're applying products foliarly is the spray particle size and distribution. Stomata arrangement varies quite a bit from crop to crop, and many times those stomates are on the underneath side of the leaf. And so complete coverage of that leaf is going to be essential in being able to get that product into the plant. We want to try to look at using small droplet sizes that are applied at high pressure so that allows that product to reach all the plant surfaces. And then, as can be illustrated in that bottom picture, the use of surfactants can be used to improve the droplet coverage as well. The bottom picture there on the bottom right is a droplet that has surfactant in it versus the drop up top that does not. As you can see, there's more product contacting the leaf surface there rather than it being in that spherical drop. So in summary, I'd like everybody to keep in mind the environment and its effects on a crop when making foliar applications. Obviously, when it's hot and dry outside, the crop's going to be much less receptive to that nutrient than it would be if it was cooler and maybe more humid outside. Also, I'd like to make sure that we're familiar with the development of the crop and making sure that we're applying those nutrients in a timely fashion when that crop could best use that foliar application. I'd like to use products and rates that are less likely to cause plant injury, so double check those rates and make sure that those products are safe for a foliar application. And then finally, adjust your sprayer settings for maximum coverage to utilize all leaf surfaces in those foliar applications. Give that leaf the best chance of absorbing as much of that nutrient as possible. That's all I have for you today. Thank you very much. Bye.